today we are going to be talking about finding the motivation to actually create content because while it is a hobby, it is so much work to do some hobbies, such as cosplaying. So, we're talking about how we can kind of stay motivated to continue making that content, I think.
Thinking is a good thing. I think you're right. No, like Lil said, our topic for today is focusing on the motivation to actually produce your content. Whether your content is painting a picture, producing a song, streaming, Instagram, cosplay, anything in between. The content that you produce and keeping up in the motivation to accomplish it and do it. Like it's a bit of a strong one too, because like in everything we do, all of us have different types of content we do, and we all face different types of motivation to try and get that content done.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And some of us are doing like multiple things like cosplaying, but also streaming and also making YouTube videos and, trying to stay kept up to all of those. And it can get a little bit overwhelming sometimes.
Well, extremely overwhelming, especially like when you have multitudes of things trying to all happen at the same time, right? Like for cosplay, for example, we have conventions, we have photo shoots. You may have Instagram stories, Q and A's, depending on what you do for engagement with your community. TikToks on some ends, like there's a wide variety of things that you're trying to get done and really impactful in that, and it takes time to get all of that.
Yeah, I agree. And you can totally lose, like, if you watch my TikToks throughout the week, you can see when I lost motivation because I filmed them all on the same day. But, like, the ones that I'm normally losing motivation at are the ones where I'm sitting on the floor. I make a creative idea out of it, but I'm like, I need to sit down. So I'll literally sit down and just film TikToks because it's easier for me to do it that way. And that's how you can tell, like, by the end of the week, when most of my TikToks are me sitting down on the floor in cosplay, it's because I lost motivation in the middle of cosplaying, but I'm still trying to make it work.
I feel that like that, and that's a hard thing, especially when you spend like a whole day literally either in cosplay or doing the thing that you love. Just like anything, you may love it, but everything kind of has to come in moderation. And when there's too much of one thing, it really saps away at your energy and then makes it so you may still love it, but you don't really love doing it at that present time. Like artist block, for example. I know it's not going to sound like a apples to apples or orange to orange comparison, but I'll use it in the sense that you get so passionate about a project and wanting to produce something that you have a block that's actually preventing you from being able to come up with any creative ideas. You put so much stress and idea and wanting to get this thing done that you sort of stopped your creative process from letting it flow. You sort of dammed it up because you forced everything through and it's dry at the minute. I mean, cosplay and art and any aspect of content creation is the same. If you try to force it out, you're gonna get a block. You're gonna run out. It's not an infinite stream, right?
Yeah, I agree. And I get that way with TikTok, honestly, especially when I like run out of sounds because I'll share sounds that remind me of, or I'll save sounds that remind me of Zaya. I'm like, oh, I need to remember to do that next time I'm in Zaya cosplay. But then, like, if I don't have any of those or if I'm not having any of those ideas, that's usually when I like do a social media like break per se, where I take about a week break from cosplaying just to kind of like rejuvenate myself. And then I can normally come up with ideas throughout that week because there's not as much like pressure, I guess would be the way to put it. You know what I mean? So I can kind of like relax and let it come to me rather than trying to force it to come to me.
Definitely, and that break is kind of the establishment thing, right? Like you need a recharge cycle whenever you do something, an activity, whether it be content creation or work or any activity in life. Like that recharge cycle brings back the energy to continue on forward and to potentially get over those type of blocks when you have it and can't produce new content. I mean, I'll say like new content is probably the hardest thing to actually establish, come up with, and try and do. Sometimes it's unexplored territory and you don't even know where to start.
Yeah, wow, my voice just betrayed me. Sorry. Yeah, I agree. Like, I did a couple TikToks last week that I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone for, and I'm kind of glad I did, just because like I was able to kind of experiment with that side of being like emotionally vulnerable. Because both me and Zaya are not, I feel like, are not great at being emotionally vulnerable. It's something that I personally struggle with. So it was very interesting to kind of allow that idea to come to me. And I was like, at first, I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. And then I was like, why not, though? Like, why not just try it? And I did, and it worked out pretty well. I liked how they turned out.
Yeah, I mean, like I love your TikToks personally. They're entertaining.
Thank you.
There's always something different going on, whether it be Luna the elf or Zaya the bird.
It's true, and everything in between.
Literally everything in between. But no, like that's a fantastic point, right? Especially when you've got, like, let's move to the example of multiple different types of content creation on the go. Like trying to balance every different type of content creation you're going to try and do is extremely taxing because you're not just focusing on one aspect. You're literally focusing on multitudes of different aspects. Could be two, three, four, or five. Like especially cosplay for an example, painting for an example, or songs. Like you could be writing 5 songs on the go. You could be having 4 different paintings you're trying to work on, and you've stopped at different points on each one because you've hit an artistic block on them. And cosplay, you could have 3 unfinished cosplays or 3 finished ones you just don't know what to do with.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at right now, which is why the part of the reason I got a new cosplay was because I've had the same like 4 cosplays. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for something like new, but I think money kind of plays into that too because I know that if I tried, I might be able to make a cosplay, but I am not that confident in myself, and I am not patient enough, and I know those things about me, so I buy my cosplays. So money also kind of plays into it. So as soon as I had some extra money, I was like, I need to get a new cosplay because I was starting to lose motivation to cosplay because I myself was getting bored of the same 3. Not that I love Zaya, like everybody knows this, I adore her, but it gets a little bit repetitive. So I think newness, is that a word? It kind of brings like
I think it is.
a different aspect to it as well.
I can sympathize, right? Like it's nice to shake it up. It's good to have like that one comfortable thing to go back to that you may like it's sort of a known ground. You may be partially known for it, but it was either your first, it's the one you've done the most, it's something you're comfortable with. Like in terms of artistic style, maybe like if you're a painter, you're very comfortable with watercolor. That's your forte. Music, you're very comfortable in the country section, right? In dancing, maybe traditional or ballroom is your sort of go-to. But stepping out and trying different things brings in a new motivation and a different perspective to sort of revitalize the areas you're maybe kind of lacking in by staying back in those same spots. It's fine to fall back on a known, but if you're falling back on the known with no new change perspective or something different to bring to it, you're sort of just rehashing what you've done, which is okay and maybe a slump because you need just a comfort, but you need to delve out of that comfort zone in order to push ahead and move forward into new things to brighten your content creation and motivation for that to keep producing more.
I agree, and it's perfectly okay to have like you said to have that comfort cosplay or whatever. Like Zaya, I finished her makeup early today, and I was like, oh, what is this? Like I'm just so used to it now. But like I do want that newness, or even just when I started cosplaying, I was so scared to start cosplaying because I was like, I'm gonna get judged. I'm not as good as all the other cosplayers I've seen. And then I put this outfit on. Granted, I put the wig on wrong the first time I put it on, and if you like look back at that TikTok, I'm like, oh my god, it's so bad. But I felt so freaking I never wanted to take it off. I think I walked around in the cosplay like it wasn't obviously like as put together as it is now, but I walked around in it for like a couple hours because I was like, I feel so good in this. So I think that also like helps with motivation too, is being confident in what you're doing, and certain cosplays can just, at least in terms of cosplay or certain content, I feel like can just bring you that confidence, which helps because you want to do things you're good at naturally as humans.
Absolutely. Confidence plays like a big thing too. Like in the aspect, if you're not confident in what you're doing, your motivation is going to suffer because of it. Confidence is an energy fueler in accomplishing things to get done. Confidence helps you feel the ability to get it done. If you're unconfident in a situation, you are going to potentially, in a lot of cases, second guess, overthink, and underestimate a challenge. And the reason I say underestimate instead of overestimate is because you're not thinking clearly, and you're more likely to underestimate a situation than you are to overestimate it. And quite frankly, it's better to overestimate than it is to underestimate. I'd rather be overprepared than underprepared. And when you've had the chance to be confident and know what you're experiencing, you know you can accommodate for different things. Sort of in like the cosplay community here in like Toronto, we have this fellow called the cosplay medic. When conventions are again a thing, but what he does and his group goes around and they will carry sewing needles, they carry tape, extra batteries, side water. If you are having issues in your cosplay, having dehydration problems or whatever, he is like the person in his group that comes to you and will help you out. And like he is, that group is completely over prepared in all the right ways. They have access supplies to help out. And like he started as just a one person thing and then it grew into a group. And like the confidence he has just to being so helpful and spreading that out, I think is fantastic. And like, I know that may not seem like a content creation in the same way, but it still applies.
Yeah, I agree. And, that made me think of, like, when I started streaming, too, there's so much, like, not pressure from, like, the community or whatever, but just, like, in general to find your niche, I guess, and how can I be original? How can I be, like, because it is a business. Like, streaming is like a business. You want to make yourself, you want to offer something that the next person doesn't. Not to say, I'm not saying, like, compete with everybody and, like, beat people up that you think are going to do better than you. But, like, you have to find that niche and what makes you original, and you have to, like, not hound on it, but that's what you're going to want to, like, promote or whatever, because that's how, at the end of the day, you're going to be successful in that. So I feel like that was relevant to content creation because he found that niche, and I'm sure he has, like, social medias and stuff like that he promotes what he's doing on there. So it helps him also be more successful, not necessarily financially or whatever, but, like, just emotionally too. Like, at the end of the day, he knows he's helping people, and that's gotta feel good, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like his Instagram and Facebook page blew up over the time as the group came together, and just everyone knows to look out for the shield with the medical sign on it. It's like a giant shield that says cosplay medic. His whole group has it, and it's just got the red plus sign on it. So like you know where to go if you're having problems. Like it's amazing, and it just like I guess that kind of brings up an interesting point, right? Content creation isn't just like what we think traditional in terms of like the arts with cosplay, with music, with streaming, video game, YouTube videos. Content creation is literally what you're taking and loving and promoting it out there in different forms, either on social media or in different aspects, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Like content creation is ultimately what you want to make it, and playing to your motivation on that to push that content creation forward.
Yeah, and kind of going off of that, where, like, what you were saying earlier with not forcing it, like, I know, okay, don't get mad at me, but I have been struggling with playing Magic on my streams lately because I don't understand it and I'm not as confident in it. So I'm not, like, I know, you just glared at me.
That's okay.
I'm not, like, as comfortable with it, so I do find myself, like, not having as much fun at the end of my streams. Like, I know I do enjoy Magic because I used to play with Josh all the time at the table, but, it kind of comes with this, like, unknown territory and getting out of my comfort zone. And I know I'm going to get there eventually. It's just right now I'm kind of stuck in my own head with being overwhelmed by literally everything and trying to figure out what the hell does what and trying to, figure it all out. But I think it kind of plays into the, again, comfort aspect of, like, what you're comfortable with and using that to your advantage to make the content that you like. Because if you're making content you don't like, people are going to be able to tell. Or somebody will be able to tell, and that's not good. Plus, you want to be, it's a hobby. You want to be happy while you're doing it,
Exactly. You want it to be something fun and engaging. And I mean, it's great that you're breaking out of your shell. And I mean, personally, from a Magic player standpoint, I think you're doing fine.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit for just starting out on a new platform and trying out something different in your stream when you've been used to other things, right? Like, it's experimenting.
Like Harvest Moon.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying new things, which is bringing in a whole other perspective, and you're seeing things that maybe you're not considering are like the best, but those are things maybe you're working towards to sort of overcome and recognize that, hey, I might be getting like this, but Maybe there's something I gotta do different about it to bring it not like it, or maybe it's just not for me to do this. I will say, like, playing Magic can be frustrating. Sometimes your opponent just has the perfect hand and it's frustrating, but partly at the end of the day, not to sound cliche, but content is content. As long as at the end of your stream, whether you've been salty in a game of Harvest Moon or Magic or League of Legends as per character cosplay at the minute,
Right.
if you can say at the end of your stream or at the end of your time that you've had fun playing, doesn't matter if the games are bad. If you can just walk away and say, you know what, despite all that, I had a great time. There were some great plays. Then, like, I say, continue on with it. Like those reactions are just natural. That's emotion, right? You're gonna express things as they happen. It's not bad to say, like, oh no, they had the perfect top deck. Oh no, they ganked me in mid lane. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's a game, right? You can't just expect a game to always go perfect and to always win. There's going to be ups and downs, and those challenges and reactions are just part of how you play that game and experience it.
See, I'm really competitive, so I hear what you're saying. I do.
Do you?
But I love winning. Like, no, I completely agree. And at the end of the day, like, yes, I do stream to play video games and have fun and whatnot, but I love interacting with my chat. Like, that is my favorite part, is when the chat is like really getting going, and you guys are giving me shit, I'm giving you guys shit. It's great, and it's honestly, I could play whatever game as long as I still had that interaction with the people who are choosing to spend time with me in my stream. So I think that's awesome, and like, kind of another, I didn't mean to like go off on a tangent, but that's kind of another aspect of it too, is like engagement with people who are supporting you and following you, because that's honestly like the highlight of my streams.
Yeah, I would absolutely sympathize with that. Like, motivation, as we touched on before, can come from yourself. It can come from external influences around you too. You're like, in the case of a Twitch streamer, your chat, your community is very much a big influence and motivator into wanting to do things. We do produce content as content creators for our enjoyment, but we do it also for other people to enjoy. That's why it's out there for people to watch. We get up and do these fantastical things so people can have an enjoyment of something to do in a different way. Like, it's an entertaining role, and that comes in from different reactions and the different types of things that people do. But your community does play in an influence on the motivation to do it. Like, I will get out and cosplay for me, but I also love getting into cosplay because the community likes it. Heck, I don't think I would have cosplayed today if, like 2 weeks ago, Honey had been like, here, I would like to see you do this cosplay, which I still owe her because wig is not still fixed. It will get fixed. Fixing it next weekend. Not the point of that overall story, but like, we cosplayed last weekend. We had a blast, and now we're here doing it again. And we've kind of talked about maybe from now on, mystical motivations is just a fun little cosplay. It may be casual or full, just different ways in pushing it. And that's a motivator from a community aspect, right? Pushing out new boundaries.
I agree. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's like pushing out new boundaries to try.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I love cosplaying, I do, but I don't get into cosplay every Sunday, like, just for myself. Granted, I love making like little mini movies on TikTok and Zaya. Like, it is my highlight of my week. I love it. But at the end of the day, that excitement comes from getting to show other people, like, hey, look at this cool thing. Like, and I know you enjoy this too, and interacting with them. And I don't know. I just really love, like, and I say it all the time on my streams too, that I love everybody who supports me because I love interacting with them. It's so much fun. And even when I like lose games on streams, or like the one time I was playing Red Dead and a goat scared the fuck out of me, like the reaction I got from not only myself but from the chat made it like, because normally I get mad when I get scared, but I was genuinely having a great time despite the fact it was such a dumb mistake. Like, it was one of the highlights of one of my streams. So they definitely are a huge motivator, and probably wouldn't get into cosplay as much as I do without them.
Well, and I think that's a great aspect in life too, right? Like, so your community may influence your content, but producing content makes us happy and want to produce more. Like, community sort of in a way is like a family. It's a family of motivators to want to produce more. Um, in any different form of how you want to produce your content or have been motivated to keep producing different types of content. Um, like I've kind of looked at experimenting with different types of content. I haven't really got to it, but it's been on the radar. I keep like typing out this song to Lilith, and she keeps humming it off and getting stuck in her head from TikTok.
My God.
And I've meant to do like a TikTok of it. I might do it eventually. But if you don't know what the song is, it's a chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken and macaroni, chilling with my homies.
Great. My head for the day.
You're welcome. But you know, fun different types of content, and I think it's appropriate because Rakan is a chicken. I mean it's
yeah.
cute, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Also, just an FYI, if I find that on TikTok, I'm going to make a TikTok with it, and I'm tagging you in it, and you are required to duet it. Because if it has to be stuck in my head, it has to be stuck in your head too.
I'm fine with that. I've been humming the song like on and off every other day because once I saw it, it just kind of sat there. It's like da 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 da.
Catchy, and it's cute. It's adorable.
It is. It's adorable, and I love it. It's wholesome. Yeah, but also like, so different types of content I think are also some of the biggest challenges, right? We sort of touched on earlier. When you're experimenting in a new area of content creation, that's probably one of the biggest challenges you're going to have. It's an unknown and unexplored area, and that sometimes can be the most daunting thing around because you're just not sure how to tackle it, where to start. I mean, like, even what to do.
I agree. I actually just got a new cosplay in, and I was like really excited for it. And then I put it on yesterday, and I was like, and it's the first male character that I'm cosplaying, so it's brand new territory. Like I've never, and the wig is like all messed up, so I have to try to fix it. I have zero experience with that, but I'm gonna try. But I was kind of feeling that yesterday when I put it on. I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this, but I just spent $200, so I may as well just try it.
You have to go for it and give it a shot at the end of the day, right? That's the big thing. I mean, I'll kind of touch on for like Rakan, and a previous cosplay I did Kamina. My motivation to want to do those cosplays came from a fitness goal to get into shape. So I actually, not to sound conceited, but I had at least a sort of showable upper body in some regard that made me feel confident in my cosplay. I did it for my health, but you know, getting through that aspect and wanting to go helped me feel confident in actually finishing this cosplay and making it. Like all of Rakan to the feathers that you can maybe see, maybe not see well. There's tons of feathers on my back that are made from foam that took me a week and a half to make, like 46 hours. But anyways, you know, motivation to get this cosplay done because I wanted to show it off.
Yeah, sure. And I think that builds into the community aspect too. Like even if you're not in your comfort level, at the end of the day, you know that when it does get to the point where you want it to be, other people are going to enjoy it too. So it's just, community is so important. I know I keep going back to that, but like they are kind of the foundation of why we do make content and put content out there even when we don't really feel like it.
I'd absolutely agree, because you're not just making something for you, you're making it something to share with other people, something for them to enjoy and take away and hear their thoughts on. Did you like this? Maybe is there something different you'd like to see? Like it's a community is a great way to generate those new ideas too, and how to explore different types of content you haven't created before. Like I'll use the Motivation Sundays right now. This started as a suggestion from a community member, Dark Seeker. He's like, you should consider doing positivity talks. I'm like, huh, maybe. I mean, and look where we are right here. Now we're talking about motivation and producing content in different forms.
Right. I think it is also very an important thing to do is look back to where you started with your content. Like I was talking about, when I first got Zaya's wig, I thought the part had to go in the middle. And so my wig was literally on sideways, but I felt so confident that I like freaking sold it and just owned it. But there's definitely, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just interesting to see how far you've come, I guess would be the way to put it. Or even just thinking about when I first started streaming, and when I did my first stream, I kind of was like, I clicked go live and I was like, hello? Like, how do I do this? Is anybody
Hello?
here?
What do?
Hello?
Where go? I mean, your first stream wasn't that bad.
For it, to be completely honest, like, I was so freaking nervous. I was just like, I don't know. There are people watching me. What do I do?
But you bring up a great point, right? Like referencing back to where you started to see your progressive growth. That is also a great motivator because not every, like, I'm going to say there will be the 1% that, sure, when they do something, they're fantastically talented and it turns out great the first go and they become a pro. Yes, there is that 1%. But the 99% of us that don't have that amazing talent can produce a skill set to achieve that. You are not just born a pro. No pro automatically starts out right away. Even the pros who are the 1% still start at square one. Your talents will take you to a certain point, but the skills you develop will take you past your talents. Right? Talents can't be developed. Skills can be developed. Skills are a subset of motivation of when you've accomplished something more. You may have a talent for one thing, but your skill set can help you push further from that. A talent is just a way to sort of, hey, you've got a starting point. Your skill set is what's going to take you further away to accomplish something done. Painting, for example, right? There are talented painters, but a painter who is talented versus one that is skilled is very different, right? Like you can tell the difference between just someone that may be talented at the start versus a skilled person who's put time and practice in, and both have started at square one and work to get where they are in their respective areas. Like everybody starts at square one, and comparing where you were at square one to where you are now is a great reflective piece of how like far you've come, what you've been able to achieve, and where you're potentially going to go.
To what you just said about comparing yourself now to when you first started, I really struggle with like comparing myself to other people, whether it be cosplay or streams or whatever the case may be. And I find my like sometimes my mental health kind of slips because I'll look at all these amazing cosplayers and I'm like, wow, like fuck my life. But then I'm like, you know what? I've come so far from when I first started cosplaying or like with my stream or whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's just important to touch on like, don't compare yourself to other people. Like, learn from them and maybe like, oh, I like what that person did. I'm going to try something similar. Don't like straight up copy them if it's like streaming or whatever. I don't know. But like, compare yourself to your like where you started. That is really the only fair comparison because that's something you have the ability to change and to improve.
No one is comparable to you. You can look at the work you've done and the aspect in work that comparing yourself to other people, it's not a bad thing, but you don't want to compare yourself in an apples to apples. You want to compare so you can see what's maybe something you could improve on. What is something great that this person does that is something in an area you could improve on? Right? Look at someone else's work to see ideas and things that you can take away. The only person that you should compare yourself to is yourself at the end of the day. Right? Compare yourself to others if you want to see areas to improve on or other ideas to bring in. But in terms of apples to apples, compare yourself where you are now to where you were to see your growth. Your growth is also a form of motivation to continue in content creation. Like we said, everyone literally has started at square one, no matter what. That point of square one to see where you've come to gives you a whole view of the path that you've traveled, and it may even give you some light into areas where you might improve. You could be like, on this painting, you know, I had to speed up the process and I couldn't finish this extra little detail on a couple trees or something that I wanted to do. Maybe on the next go, you know, give yourself a little more time, right? It's self-reflection and growth, which plays into the other key aspect of motivation for content creation. You need to look at where you started in your content creation path and where you're at and to get an idea of where you want to go.
Yeah. 100%. And that just reminded me, I totally forgot to put in the nose ring for Zaya. Whoops. I'll put it in before the TikToks. It's fine.
You're good.
I knew I was forgetting something. I was like, that went too quickly. But yeah, I do that sometimes with my streams when I'm feeling really unmotivated. Like, especially, like, I appreciate every single viewer that I have in my stream. I 100% truly do. But like when I'm sitting at like one viewer and I know that one viewer is Josh, like it is kind of hard to stay motivated, like to keep streaming. So when that happens, I kind of think about like where I started and then how far I've come. And I like to think about when I reached affiliate the most, honestly, because that it just, I was so insanely happy that day. And that's kind of my driving force. Like if I could make that growth, I can make more growth. I just need to keep going.
Exactly. Like we just kind of saw in chat, a friend of mine posted, my life rule is it only takes one. And I think that gets applied in a lot of different ways. And like he said, in getting started too. And I'll agree with that. You know what? It only takes one opportunity to push forward. It only takes one time for things to change. It only takes one video, one painting, one song, one piece of content to push you to the next level of where you want to get at or go to, right? And I'll even use it in the aspect of viewership. You know what? It only takes one person for you to make a difference in that person's life, to have someone new in your community. It's that simple. It's the rule of one. I think that's a great view on that.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, like I appreciate every single person that I have in my streams. It's just something I struggled with, like especially when I was getting started. Because you know, on Twitch, I think what happens is like you grow so much when you start because you're new, like, and then it kind of slows down a little bit. So I was seeing that slow down and I was getting really frustrated. And Josh was like, dude, like, you're doing fine. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's just because, like, you're not brand new anymore. Like, you know, not that I'm, like, veteran or anything like that. But I don't know. It's just interesting. I'm one of those people who likes to reflect on where I started in the content creation and things like that. And honestly, like I said earlier too, I just love interacting with my chat. It doesn't really matter how many people are in there, as long as I can just interact with them and, you know, because we're sharing an experience is essentially what it is.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if that experience is with one person, with 5 people, with 10, 20, to whoever gets there in their day. I wish you luck in the thousands of viewers. It doesn't matter how many's there. What matters is the experience being formed. It could be with your best friend, with the person that's brand new in your community, but you're experiencing something with them and helping them through, and that's giving you motivation to keep going. If at least there's one person just chatting or lurking, that's content you're producing, and you're giving something to that other person to see, and you're continuing to do things. Like I just said, it takes only one person to make a difference. It only takes one video, one cosplay to really go forward. And like I think you touched on a really great point there, in that things grow, especially when you're new, because there's that aspect of this person is new, we should follow, we should support, and then it kind of plateaus because that momentum kind of dies. But that isn't to say that it's died so much as the energies may be switched. That plateau is just saying, okay, I've reached the stage point where maybe I'm not new and I need to expand on what I do. I need to change what I do and continue to adapt and grow. You learn, you change, you adapt, you keep yourself motivated to keep producing more and more in the things you love and trying different ways to bring that in.
I agree. And I think I was actually messaging you on Discord that one day when I got caught up in just researching a bunch of stuff about streaming and Twitch, and like I had so much going through my brain that day. I was like, I need to do this, 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 and this. And Josh was like, slow down. But that's something that they brought up too, is like, I just lost my train of thought 100%. So sorry. I totally forgot what I was going to say. What did you say? You said, what were we talking about? I'm so sorry.
We were talking about plateauing and overcoming that plateau.
Yes. Okay. So sorry. I 100% zoned out.
Good.
So basically what the YouTube video was saying is you are going to reach that plateau as a creator, whether it happens at like 1,000 followers, 100, 5, whatever. You're going to reach a plateau. That's just the way of life. So the way to help with that is to find new ways to start rising or like start growing again, which it goes all the way to the top. Comes full circle. It comes to getting out of your comfort zone, because that at the end of the day is how you're going to reach a different audience of people or a different group of people.
Yeah, and that's especially true. Like, the way to break out of anything in a plateau or stage and keep things fresh, keep motivated, is trying new things. I think that's ultimately the biggest motivator for anything. If you want to keep producing stuff, you need to think of different ways to produce that stuff. You're going to come into roadblocks when you try to produce new things or force it out, and then you need to self-reflect, take a step back, look at where you came from to where you are now, and how you can move forward. And then potentially on from there, reaching out, continuing things with your community, establishing things that way.
Yeah, I think it's, the same points that we've kind of touched on, but getting out of your comfort zone is a big thing for content creators, especially when you are trying to grow. And it can be scary, and maybe it doesn't turn out perfect the first time because you're not that top 1%. That's okay. As long as you're trying. At the end of the day, you're going to reach somebody if you're trying, and maybe you could be the inspiration for that person. That's kind of why I started cosplaying, is I wanted to have enough confidence in myself to be like, yeah, you can totally do this thing. And then I wanted to inspire other people, just be yourself, because I'm so tired of society being like, no, you need to actually act this way and that way. And it's like, actually, no, I'm just going to live my best life and you just leave me alone, please.
I think that's a great example, though, right? Society's got premeditated structures of how they view people to be. The normalcy, but our unique traits are what bring it in. Honestly, some of the best people I've ever met in life are either in the gaming community or in the cosplay community, because they're sticking to who they are and they're letting their unique traits out and being just the best they can be. And I think that's one of the most important lessons in life. They're just who they are, and that makes them great.
It is ironic that we're it's them being themselves, but it's really dressing up as other people.
It's but expressive. Yes. Cosplay is but a metaphor of expressiveness.
That's true. That's why I chose Zaya first. That's why she was my first cosplay, is because I was like, I relate to this character. She gets angry and she doesn't put up with bullshit. I love her. Give her to me immediately. She is my burb girl.
Accurate, though, because your temper is about as bad as hers.
Oh my god, it's so bad. I know, because that's why I started playing League. This is such a tangent, but Josh was like, he would talk about League all the time, and I love him, but I would kind of zone out. I don't really care. I cared, but I wasn't actively listening. And then he was like, well, you would really like this one character. And I was like, okay, my interest is piqued. And he's like, she's a badass female. And I was like, tell me immediately. And he showed me clips of Zaya and Rakan. I was like, oh my god, so cute. I love them. And then I played her and I was like, yep, I'm in love. And so that's kind of when I also decided to actually buy the cosplay. I was like, that needs to be my first one, because I know I'm going to feel confident in that one, because it's similar to my personality, but to an extreme level.
I can get that. When the characters came out, I automatically fell in love with them. It was the relationship between the two, but I absolutely love Rakan's kind of demeanor. It was very much you know what? All the fucks could be gone in the world. Things could be going to shit. He's still going to do what he's going to do. And he's going to give it his best at the end.
Yeah. Kind of how Josh and I are too. That's kind of our dynamic. Not to say I'm negative. I like to say I'm a realist, but that's what optimists always said, that pessimists say.
That's true.
He's very we can do this, and it's gonna be great, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, I just want to sleep. Please leave me alone. You talk to me before coffee, and I'll kill you.
Coffee is important. I say that as I continue drinking mine to stay awake.
I'm getting some as soon as this is over.
Very good, but you have to sing the chicken wing song first.
That's right.
Come on, sing the song. Sing the song.
Right now?
Yeah, do it now.
Oh my god, I don't want to. I'm scared.
It's fun. chicken wing, hot dog and
Hot dog and
bologna, chicken and
bologna,
macaroni,
chilling with my homies. Okay,
See,
I
it's
got
not
you.
that bad.
I needed you to do it with me.
See?
I can't do anything
Friendship
independently.
is motivation. This is how you help your friends break out of their shells. You encourage, you do it with them. You do embarrassing things. Sometimes they don't have to always be embarrassing, but you do things with friends to motivate them. It's the same with community. Communities are family and friends. They help you
You
motivate.
push them into the water.
Exactly. It's a very real metaphor for how I get Lil to do certain things.
All of the things.
99% of the things?
Okay, yeah, because I didn't meet you before I started cosplaying, but I 100% know that if we had been friends before I started cosplaying, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this, you would have been like, great, do it right now.
Oh,
you
yeah,
have
hands
to.
down, hands down. I would have sent you the link. Here's like affordable Zaya cosplays on 3 different websites with multiple manufacturers. Here's a selection of wigs. Do you want it self-styled or do you want it pre-styled?
Yep, 100%
Research.
agree.
I think we've kind of covered a good bit about motivation and content creation today. I don't know that I have much else to add.
I don't fun subject though, and I needed it personally.
Because you still have some content creation you need to work on today.
Ugh, don't remind me.
What is it? Two more cosplays you got to do?
Yep, I have to do Persephone because I'm I'm sending Polaroids to one of my patrons, and then I'm going to be doing my new cosplay for because I told my patrons that I would give them early access to any new cosplay, so I need to stand by that. And so I waited till today to do all of that because time management's a thing.
Procrastination is a great source of motivation.
You're right. You're right.
Well, awesome. Well, Lil, thank you again for chilling out today. I'll let you go to get on with your cosplay stuff. I'm going to go get changed out of my cosplay because I have to get stuff ready for our next segment at 2 p.m. of Untap and Unwind Commander. But we'll be back next Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, for our next motivation topic, of which we'll probably decide a day or two before. It seems to be tradition at this point. I'll literally type up the little, hey, what do you think about doing on Sunday? She'll be like, how about this and this? I'm like, sounds great. Let's do it.
That's literally accurate, though.
Yeah, it's either that or, hey, here's an idea. KK, thanks, bye. All right, Lo, well, why don't you tell the fine people where they can find you at?
You can find me on Twitch at LunarLilith_28. Instagram is LunarCosplays28. Same with my TikTok. And YouTube is LunarLilith28.
And guys, you already know where to find me because you're obviously watching the stream right now, so I won't worry about that.